Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank you, Dr. Thompson, and let me just say your qualifications are impeccable, and I'm very pleased that you want to take on this important position, and I look forward to working with you. I just wanted to start with whether you had an opportunity to review the 2012 GAO report, which really focused on concerns about the cost of the census. Have you had a chance to review that report?
I have reviewed the report, but at a very high level.
Okay. Because I think one of the things the report identified in it was that the cost of the decennial census rose from $8 billion in 2000 to $13 billion in 2010, which would be a 56% increase. And I know that you talked about a Supreme Court case that would have changed sampling methodology, but according to the GAO, one of the concerns they raised in that report was that the Census Bureau could not identify specific sources of cost growth from 2000 to 2010. And so within the report, the GAO found that the Bureau had not developed mitigation or contingency plans for looking forward to the 2020, which I know Dr. Coburn already asked you about. So I think that's one of the key issues for you, thinking about the prior cost growth, thinking about obviously the fiscal challenges facing the nation of not doubling the cost growth, looking forward to the 2020 census and having a strong plan. And what initial thoughts do you have on that for us here today to make sure that we're responsibly using taxpayer dollars?
Well, let me first say that I do have the greatest respect for the GAO and for the IG. They actually helped me a lot when I was there in 2000. And if I'm confirmed, I do want to sit down with them, really understand their concerns in detail, and work for them.
Good.
But I think it's important that you have a well laid out planning process with metrics, with milestones, and you have a good cost model. Mm-hmm. So you can control costs, track costs, understand where you are. I think that's very important, and that's one of the things that I would plan to have in place.
And Dr. Thompson, to the extent you can, would you be coming back to the committee also to share some thoughts on as you came up with the metrics and modeling looking forward to 2020? Oh,
no, I would welcome any opportunity to
Terrific.
Come work with the committee. I would value the input.
Great, and I know that you've already been asked questions about the American Community Survey, but this issue really, certainly as Dr. Coburn identified, this is an issue that of trust with the government, and also my constituents. I mean, I hear it, some deep concerns about some of the questions and the depth of this survey, and it can't be underestimated. The stories that we hear, of course, are that my constituents are contacted, they're visited, and then they find out really the extent of the questions that they're asked. And so what I did today was just looked at the current survey just to kind of get a sense of what it looks like. And it's about 48 questions, but that doesn't include subparts. And I think if I went through the subparts, it probably gets close to 100 questions that they're asked. And some of them are quite intrusive. I mean, I look at things like, because of a physical, mental, or emotional condition, does this person have serious difficulty concentrating, remembering, or making decisions? That's a very personal question. Or does this person have difficulty dressing or bathing? Obviously about someone with a disability. There's a whole length of other questions, I mean, very detailed questions that this is an issue that I would hope that in your new position that we would not be asking questions of individuals that aren't fully justified or necessary, because these are very intrusive questions to ask individuals about. And obviously these questions go from the background of your heritage all the way to your income, to where you live. I mean, I love this one. Does this house, apartment, or mobile home have a sink with a faucet? I mean, so these are very detailed questions. So you can understand with your average person where they're subject to fines being asked detailed questions by the government that are very personal, why that would raise very deep privacy concerns with many individuals. So that is what you're hearing from the public, and I would think that our responsibility, both as members of Congress and your responsibility in your new position, would be to be as least intrusive as possible in terms of respecting the privacy of the American people. So that is the commitment I'm asking from you today, because I could understand if I were asked some of these questions why I would get my dander up.
Senator, let me say that I would not want to unduly burden the American public, and I would be committed to ensuring that the questions that are asked have to be asked, and there's the right purpose to them and a documented purpose. I also want to assure you that my whole career has been devoted to protecting the privacy of the respondents, both at the Census Bureau and at NORC, the company I'm at now. I mean, it's just critical to be in a position to continue to earn their trust so that you can collect vitally important information.
Well, what I would hope is obviously every single question on this survey, that it be scrutinized very carefully to really ask, put yourself in the shoes of the people being asked, the American people, and then also, why is this necessary for government to have this information? And I think there has to be a fairly high justification, particularly with some of the very personal questions that I raised. So I would hope that you would bring that kind of standard into reviewing this process.
Senator, I would really, if I'm confirmed, I would love to explore these with you in more detail. Again, I don't want to unduly burden the American public, but at the same time, I want to collect the information that's necessary to administer the important programs that the American Community Survey is designed to support.
Now, I appreciate that, and I think it's the issue of people understanding us making sure that we are really scrutinizing this so that information that doesn't need to be collected is not collected. So I appreciate very much your willingness to take this on and your prior experience in this area, and look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.